coming up next. Neil's special guest, artist Andre Farella. Welcome back. Well, the painter uses paint. He uses light. And this artist literally uses light in various forms to produce his images. His work has been exhibited in many museums and galleries throughout the Midwest. The most recent showing was at the Peter Miller Gallery in Chicago, Illinois. Private collections of his art can be seen in Madison, Chicago, Toledo, and Paris. Welcome, Andre Farella. It's a pleasure to have you with us on Astrology this week.
Thank you.
And you do light painting. Now tell us, what is light painting?
It's a process that I've developed during the last 10 years where I can photograph and document the world as I see it, take the negatives and manipulate the negatives with paint and inks, and project it through enlargers onto a specially designed tray that I've made to layer successive layers of photographic images that I've photographed.
Wow.
So I can get a continuous buildup of layers and images and layers of transparencies with...
Well, it's really interesting. We have some of your work to show our viewers, and I think that they will be interested. Now, this first one that we're looking at, where did you get the idea for this? Maybe you can explain it.
Ever since I was a child, I've been flying, and I finally have produced a piece where I'm flying. I'm trying to reach some light or the cosmos.
Where do you want to go with this technique? Or what is your main objective?
I'd like to fly to the heavens. I'd like to transcend this world.
Here's another one. Oh, they're really interesting.
I'd like to go beyond. I'd like to merge things and pull them all together so things just become one form and can take off.
Now, this one is an interesting one. What? Tell us about it.
That's actually a silhouette of my body as I laid on the photographic paper, projected with a background of the city of Chicago, an alley, and this being coming from somewhere just appears. This art being just appears on the planet Earth.
Now, you actually draw these things, right? Right on the negative in some cases?
Actually, they're photographs of people or of incidences or of environments, and then they're manipulated during the photographic process. Like in this particular piece, the actual flaming or the falling or the streaking is done by chemical erosion. So I'm using chemicals and scratchings and etchings and heavy manipulation of photographic paper.
It's phenomenal. Look at that. This is, as I understand it, photography will never be an art because it's only recreating reality. And there's no interpretation. Only an artist with a brush can do that.
But all reality is an art anyways. It's all created.
That's true. But you are changing reality with these images.
Yes, I'm manipulating reality to what I want to say, what I am feeling.
It's kind of cosmetic surgery on the world.
Yeah, it's taking, I'm photographing the world, I'm documenting the world, I'm having liberation to take these documentations and change them to what I want to say.
Where would you...
I was going to say, I'm interested to hear all about Andre after we've seen his work. What kind of a birth chart does this gentleman have?
I can't imagine why he would have the guts to go ahead and do this. It's obviously very creative.
It's interesting.
Work. Very novel, unusual, different. You'd think he'd be an Aquarius or a Leo or something like that, all that creativity, but lo and behold, he's not. He's a sun in Pisces. Okay. Pisces, we were talking about Gorbachev, right? The visionary. New images, working with imagery. And you're certainly laying image on image to create a whole new picture of the world. And Pisces is the reflector on the world, somebody that is viewing, watching, observing. Some Pisces their wish has always been to be invisible, so that nobody can observe them. They can see the world in from a very pure state, without having to interact with the world. Very withdrawn is Pisces. So it makes sense. Photography is obviously imagery. Moon is in Scorpio. Moon represents what you need in the world, what you require, what you must have to get along. The moon in Scorpio makes one of the most emotional people in the world. But there's also a fear of losing it emotionally, where all of a sudden I will just go crazy, go out of hand, the wild artist, if you combine that with Pisces, right, I'll lose control of my craft, I'll lose control of my emotions. But Scorpio gets steely and says, I also need to control those emotions if I'm ever going to be effective. And let's face it, I'm a psychologist too. And I know that somebody, if they see me react emotionally, then they'll control me. And control is my big issue, so I'm not going to allow anybody to know that I have any emotions at all. I will swallow my emotions, control my emotions. So control becomes a big issue. Not only do you have images, you control those images and make the world the way you'd prefer it, which is under your control.
Fascinating.
Pisces is very into the subtle things of the world, color. Pisces alone is very pastel-y, very light colors, cloudy, murky. Scorpio adds intensity. And I noticed that your colors were high-value colors, very intense kinds of colors. So the Scorpio makes strong statements and shows that I'm in charge. And then you have Leo rising. Leo is the sign of creativity and innovation. I will get out there and show off what I can do. So now Leo is the most egotistical sign of all, the most self-aware. But with the Pisces sun, your heart is not in your ego, but in your imagery, in your poetry, if you will, the way you see the place. So Leo says, I will pretend to be an egoist, but I'm not really. And through my appearance and through what I can produce, I will still reflect in subtle, smooth ways. Does it make any sense to you?
Yeah. It's making me see things just a little bit clearer.
Let's take a look at another picture or two on the way out of here.
Okay, well, you certainly have interesting work. I like it very, very much.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure to have you on the
Well,
show.
thank you for having me.
And we hope all of you will come back again next week. And until then, stay tuned to the universe.